Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to our world.
Or whatever time it is in your world. So today we are talking about another cognitive bias. This one is closely related to one we covered previously, which was the gambler's fallacy.
Oh yeah, the one where we could.
But if you flipped to like 10 heads in a row, the next one was definitely going to be tails. Had to change.
Yeah.
Right? Because the odds just were way out of whack.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So what's this one?
This one's called the hot hand fallacy. And they're like, I don't know,
like this.
first cousins or something. It's almost the opposite. It's very, very closely related. So
almost the opposite, but closely related.
Well, it's yes, yeah, and you'll see they're in fact you can almost apply them both in the same situation depending on the situation. So that's fun.
Yeah, let's go.
Have fun. Okay, so the hot hand is the idea that it's mostly used in sports. Okay, so let's use the idea of basketball. Somebody is watching a basketball game and one of their star players or their favorite players, hits three shots in a row real early in the game. So they run out and place a bet on that team winning because he's hot. He's hot. He can't miss.
Because he was hot for those 5 minutes.
Bingo. And so I kind of set you up for that. But that's the thing. The gambler's fallacy is a belief. Well, the hot hand fallacy is this tendency to believe that a person that's been recently successful at something, and the key is a person, will continue that success. It's most applied and most studied in sports.
How about horses?
Such as basketball. It could, yes.
Oh, horse racing.
Sure. Because the horse has won the last 3 races or whatever.
Right,
or
exactly.
Runs well on turf or
exactly.
Likes mud. Whatever. So it's applied most in investing in gambling after sports. Sports is probably the biggest.
Right.
So the key difference is that the gambler's fallacy is the belief that a streak is due to change.
Okay.
And the hot hand fallacy is the belief that this streak is going to continue. Do you see now how they're closely related but opposite?
Yeah. Okay, got it.
They're both about streaks. They're just different beliefs about the streak.
Okay.
And then the other difference is that the gambler's fallacy is mostly focused on probability of outcomes, like flipping a coin or the roulette wheel or dice, whatever. Whereas the hot hand is more often applied to a person, or as you said, a horse.
Horse, yeah.
But mostly people.
Or the dogs, whatever you like to give them.
So it's the person who's doing the winning. That's the idea of the hot hand. I can remember talking to a commodities broker who, I asked him how he made his decisions. He said, "Well, I followed the hot hands." And so now I kind of question how his results were.
What I was going to say.
There was actually a great study done. If you look at, there's a book called What Works on Wall Street, and there was a study done about mutual fund managers. And if a mutual fund, one of the things that they do is they look at the 5-year returns.
Right.
And a mutual fund manager, the top, let's say 3 or 4 that have had the best 5-year returns, you want to bet against them. You want to bet against them because that is going to end. So it's, again, a small sample.
But doesn't that go back to the first thing about the gambling?
Well, this was a detailed study of their performance, and after they'd had that 5-year run, they were done, and their next,
they couldn't change
their next few years.
Their thinking
conditions changed, and whatever.
As we all know, the market changes.
Right. So the one kind of an exception. So there's been a lot of research done about this, and Kahneman and Tversky. Kahneman wasn't part of it, but Tversky was, that originally named this, and they were the founders of the whole behavioral economics movement,
right?
Or study. But in the case of someone that has true talent, then they can actually tip the odds a little bit. So the hot hand can be.
Michael Jordan comes on. He could have done the whole thing.
Right. The hot hand would
LeBron James, whoever.
would be less of a fallacy applied to one of those superstars.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Rather than just pure dumb luck.
Right. And this this particular cognitive bias comes out of the group. You know, we've got the three categories: too much information, not enough meaning, and not enough time. So this comes from the not enough meaning section. And then the strategy that we apply with these particular biases is that we fill in the gaps with either generalizations or generalities or stereotypes.
Or just pure guessing.
So in this case, it's taking a small amount of data and treating it like it's a large amount of data.
Oh, okay. I can understand. So you're extrapolating from here to here.
Yeah, like the 3 free throws.
Right.
Or in the case of picking stocks. If you look at a stock and you say, "Ooh, it was up yesterday, and it was up the day before that. It's had a 3-day streak. It's on fire. I'm going to buy it." Okay, that's a very small sample. It doesn't, you know,
And
there
that's
could have.
usually the kiss of death.
And there's a 3-day cycle in the case of stocks. There's a 3-day cycle from when somebody buys a stock to when they have to actually pay them, make sure the money's in the account. There's a clearing. It's called a clearing cycle, and so you know a 3-day. You could have a piece of news and a buying flurry, and then you know it's done.
Right.
So 3 days would be a lot different than 3 years in terms of what it means about the company, right? Because when we buy stocks, we're not betting on a horse race. It's a company dominating in the marketplace. You know?
It has people involved in it.
And so, yes, it's that idea of taking a small sample and extending it. And there are other cognitive biases that you know we'll cover in the future that also work with
Stay tuned.
Misunderstanding small samples. But so how to avoid this one, right? The way to avoid it is get more data. Look at a larger sample size. Don't assume that because something happened a couple of times that it means it's a streak or that it has to continue. So
Yeah, we've had that too.
anyway, this has been fun. Thank you for joining us for a few minutes on another cognitive bias, and we will see you in another video.
Ta-ta.